Hello, welcome back. In the previous episode, we looked and tried to actually add the table. We added data table to all our modules. Sorry, we added it to the products, categories, coupons, banners, and I also left you a challenge whereby you are supposed to add it to other models. For instance, like farmers. You can see I went ahead and added to these other models. Okay, you can see I went ahead and I added it to other models here. Okay, so there is one challenge I made and I would want us to discuss about it before we go to these two things. So in this video I just want to fix the problem we have, and then also then we work on to these two actions, the delete and the edit. Okay, if we can work on to these two, I think it will be really nice. Okay, if we can just work on to these ones, it will be really nice. So the problem I made is that if you look at this, what we have here, it is having filter title, and if you search for the title, for sure it works. Okay, now what I found was that when you go to other models which actually don't use the title here, okay, because this implementation of the search, I'm just going to show you where it comes from. If you go to back to the farmers, now if you have the markets, let's first go like to the markets. So you can see the markets, they have the titles. So wherever you have the titles, this functionality is working really properly. But then when you go back to the farmers, actually they don't have titles, they instead have a name. Okay, now if I come here and I try to search, it actually doesn't work. Even if I try to type, it doesn't really work. Okay, so we want to fix this problem whereby we can actually pass in what is supposed to be filtered. For instance, would want to filter by here, by name, and maybe by email. Okay, yeah, so we need to see how do we add this filter, we extend this filter or this search functionality to other places. Okay, so just going to attend it to it slowly. Let's start by actually going to this actual model, to the farmers. So if you go to the farmers, it is under our dashboard, and then farmers, and then you see the implementation is the same. You have the columns. Okay, you have the columns, and then you have the page. So when you go to the page, the same thing we did, we have our data table here, and then we are feeding it the data and also the columns. Okay, let me first drop this off. So you have your data and the columns. Okay, and then we have these columns here. Okay, so where is this implementation of the search coming from? Actually, this implementation of the search is under the data table. So if we just control click on this data table, we go inside this data table here. Okay, so that table takes in the columns and the data. That's where it starts from, and it does its all things from there. Okay, so on the data, if you scroll down, you will see that we have the table is divided into 2 or 3 parts. Is divided into the data table toolbar, the data table itself, and the pagination. So these are the three major parts of the table. If you look at them, the tool table is the one which is having this view and this filter, then the table itself, and then down is where we have the pagination, and those are the 3 parts of the data table. So in the data toolbar, if you enter inside data toolbar, it is actually a place where you have access to the table, and this table has access to the columns, and then it is where actually we have this. Okay, it is where we have this dot get title. So you can see in the input we have the placeholder which says filter, and then you have filter what? Filter title. Okay, we have this filter title, and then it goes here and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so we would want to make this really dynamic. Okay, we would want maybe a person to pass in the things that he would want to be filtered. Okay, would want to be filtered so that we can actually just have as many things filtered as possible. Okay, so how would we, because you can see even here this this is the data view options. That one we have no problem with it. In this we have the problem with this. Okay, so I feel like what should be done here should be like coming from, because onto the table we should maybe have this input title coming from, for instance we say placeholder, and then filter whatever we have passed in here, and even this column, the get column and everything, we pass it in as a prop. Okay, we pass it in as a prop. So how do we pass in a prop? And how do we pass in a prop? And if we want to pass in more than one, how would we handle that? Okay, so to add in the prop, as we can see, let's first understand what is currently being done so that we can be able to modify this component. Okay, so if you look at this component, it takes in it has access to the table, or it takes in the table, okay, and the first thing they are checking is this is filtered. Now the purpose of this is filtered, the purpose is if there is something in the, if the input has some value, so this one is going to help to display the reset value. If you see this is filtered, where it is being used to show this reset button. Okay, to give you an example, let's go to where it works. So if you go to this Lemme community, if you go to this place and you type in something like harnessing, so you see when there is some value in this table, now the reset button actually comes here. Okay, so to show that reset, we need to check if the input has some value. Okay, and this is the code that is doing that. We check here if the input has some value in it, and then we get this is filtered, and we are getting table.getState.columnFilters.length is greater than 0. Okay, then another thing that we have is then this input. If you look at the input, it takes in the placeholder, it has this value, and then it has this on change. Okay, and of course the class. So want to modify this, want for instance to be able to pass in here something like for instance the filter keys. Okay, would pass in the filter keys array. okay, would have an array, and this array would be in a format of, for instance, where you have like your email, things you want to filter, like you have your email, you have your title, okay. You can find you want to have this something like this. So if you want to check this, for instance, is filtered, you have to do the sum, because you might not be searching for all of these ones. So here we might do the sum, and then we perform this, okay. Then we can find out. Then after that, we have to map through I guess like we have to map through this input over these ones, okay. So let's try to see. I was just trying to see this. I did not implement it, but I had some thoughts I was putting down on the paper, and see if this can work. We can modify it from there. So let's just go back to this. If you remember our documentation here, okay, this one, you will still find the link in the description. In this documentation here, we have this section of helper functions, okay. You click on this helper functions, and now simply scroll down to the end. Here you're going to see this filter data table component, okay. So let's first discuss this, okay. Let me just try to zoom in and try to discuss it. So you can see in the first case we are doing is I'm passing in here the filter keys, okay. As I demonstrated, want to pass here the filter keys, and then we'll be able to check here. So the first thing is we modify this is filtered, okay. We modify is filtered, we modify this. We have the filter keys. Now we have to check if any of those filter keys has some value. So what we're just doing is filtered, we get the filter keys, and we say sum. So sum will return true for if any of the items in this array is true. That is the sum. It also does the iterating, the way we use map and for each, but the difference with it is that for it is just like, okay, you look at how the filter works, okay, like it returns true or false. So it will return sum will return true if any of the items in the array returns true. So you see filter keys sum, and we have access to the key, and then we say get table.getState dot column filters at key dot length is greater than 0. So if any of these keys returns really something, you're trying to modify this, okay. If any of these ones return true, then we go ahead and replace it to this is filtered, okay. So this is the first modification. The second modification is that if you look at the input, we said we are going to do filter keys dot map, okay. We have to map through these filter keys, and then we render this input. We have the placeholder, so we have this key, okay. We have the key here. Now onto this key, you can just come here and for instance, we have filter, we have here filter. The key is okay here because this is unique. We can still use it as a key. We have placeholder, we say filter, and then we pass in the key. Now on the value, of course the value is okay, table.get column at key, okay. This one is okay. And then on change is the one which has like a bit tricky. So we have the event, then this event we are passing it into this handle input, okay. We are going to handle this, we pass in handle input change. And what is this handle input change? If you see this handle input change is I abstracted it here, Okay, handle input change, it takes in a key and a value. And then we have table.get column, and we're just like modifying this. If you remember the old version is this. Okay, yeah, it takes in the event. Now here you see we need to take in the event and the title because and the key, because here we're just like getting column at this title, but this time if it's dynamic, that's why we have to get column at key. Okay, so this has to be a key, and then set filter value to event.value. So we're trying to modify this. So I'm just going to get this whole component. Okay, I'm just going to get this component before and after. So I'm just going to go here, try to modify this. So I'm just going to put here after modification, and then we can also have before modification. Just like that, and then I put it here so that even this actually we don't lose it, just in case things backfire up, we have what start from. So let me just go ahead and try to actually get this here. I'm not sure, let me just first see. Okay, so let's just come here and try to actually pass in this one. Sorry, we're just like passing in this. Okay, we have the filter keys, and then we get if any of these ones has a value. Okay, this first one is this is to find out if, okay, if any of the keys have the value, if any of the keys have a value. Okay, if it does, then we can show the reset button, and then we also abstract the handle input change. It takes in a key and a value and gets the column at the key, set the value to this value. Okay, then we have also the handle the reset. Okay, of course handle reset is the one that is being done here. Okay, cool. So let's try right now to actually pass in these filter keys. So that means we have to go ahead and pass in the tool table, in the data table here, we have to pass in an array. So here you see we are passing in the table, we have to pass in this filter keys is equal to something. It must equal to something. We must pass in some array here. Now this array must come from a specific where we are calling it. That means the filter keys, they will be on top of the columns, and the data we have also to pass in the filter keys. So these filter keys, they will right away come from up, and then they propagate here. Filter keys is filter keys, and you see they are passing in the columns. So whatever we are calling data table, we can pass in the columns, data, and the filter keys. So that means if I go to this place, and by default you can just like pass in an empty array, just like that. Okay, we can pass in an empty array, or we can just pass in only the title, the one that was really working here, the title, just like this. Okay, and even by only this one we can prove if this works or not. Okay, let's just go here. Already we're having this cannot read properties of undefined. It seems everything seems to be okay. Filter title, let me just try to see. Yep, it works. Okay, the title still works because we are passing it here the only item in the array. So I'm wondering if I pass in another one like email, what happens? Okay, so here we don't have the email. Okay, so we have now two filters. That is weird. Okay, let me just just go to let's just go to farmers, which is the one which has the email. Okay, here let's just say search for this email. Okay, actually the filter works but the weird part is that we are having two filters. That is weird. It's supposed to be like dynamic in a way that it has one of them. How would we do that? Because actually the thing that is the technique is onto this, the two table, is that actually the problem is onto this because we are mapping. That means it means that this input actually you are just finding you are creating multiple inputs. Okay, we are creating one multiple input. That means that we can actually filter for now maybe two. Actually, like two is okay, but I would want them to be here. So for now, what you should do is that let's pass in one. Okay, let's be passing in one for filter. Let's be passing in one for filter, and let alone I will also try to fix this problem, see if we can actually filter all of them here. I have to do a lot of the thinking, and if you can help fix this problem, guys, I want you to see the comments in the description. Just right away just comment how would we try to fix this problem so that we don't have multiple filters just like this, but we have one that is catering for all items in the filter keys array. Okay, I will think about it, but for now, how to solve this problem right now is that when we are passing here, we simply pass in only one item in the array for now, but in future we just want to make the array just like this. So what I'm just going to do is remove this, and this is what you're supposed to pass in. Okay, so I'm just going to go to different tables, like for the farmers. Where is the farmers? So the farmers are here. I just go to this and just simply pass in here the filter keys, and then we can simply pass in the array. Okay, and this one is supposed to wrap, just simply wrap this into this and remove this comma. Okay, so you can just like pass in the array just like this. And now for this one, we just want the key we want to search by is, I think, the name. Now I'm not sure if the you can just go ahead in these columns. Let's go and check in the columns for this accessor key for the name. Okay, so the accessor key is the name, is what we pass in there. So I'm passing in the name. Okay, so if we go back for the farmers, you can see here filter name. So let me pass in the name. Yep, so you can see the name is right now working very nicely. So we can just do that. Now, since by default we are passing in the title, this should make sure that all the other functionalities for the title, they are working. If we go back like to others like the Limi community, you can see title is there, because by default if you don't provide, the filter key is the title. Okay, so the title, I guess it is right now working. Yep, so it is working. So as we said, if you want to pass in other keys, it is mapping this filter and then puts it along here. Okay, so we would want to see what we could also put is something like this to control. If someone selects it and then goes here, it shows up instead of like showing up at the same time, but we'll see how to handle that. Okay, so let's put all our thoughts now. Since we have solved this problem, let's put our thoughts now onto this problem of delete and edit functionality. Okay, so I'm just going to start, I think, with delete. I don't know if delete is the easy one or the hard one, but we can start with the easy one, which is delete. I guess is the delete the easy one. So we just go to categories. Okay, and then we see how we are going to implement this delete category and edit category. So let's start with this delete button. Okay, so if you just go to these actions, this is found in the columns. So, and we went ahead, I think actions, we put them in the table columns, and we have the action column, and under action column we actually have these things here. Okay, we have this the delete. Okay, so you can just go ahead and pass in the actual button here, the delete button, whatever it is. So yes, we're going to have the delete. We cannot just are going to implement this functionality from here. We can just go ahead and create a delete button. Okay, we can just go ahead and create this as a separate because it will take in a lot of things. More especially, I want to make it dynamic. Okay, want to make it dynamic to work for all. Want it to work for all the modules, so you have to make it somehow dynamic. Okay, so if you wanted this, you see here it is delete then text in the title. We are supposed not only to have the title, but actually it's supposed to have also the ID. Okay, so I'm seeing it as row is active. I think we can have things from this. Okay, so I'm just going to first go ahead and get this one, put it into an actual button. Okay, so let me just create here under components. Okay, maybe this one we put either in this, but we can just like go ahead and maybe put in under form inputs, or we can just simply put it inside here. I don't know where we should just put it. Components, maybe let's create another thing here, a new folder. I'm just going to call it actions. So inside here we can create actions, and then in these actions I'm just going to create a file called a delete button, delete btn.jsx, and then you say rfc Okay, so I just want this button to actually, let's just say, take in, for instance, the ID, okay, and maybe also the endpoint, okay, and then let's just get here this return the actual button and just say here delete, okay, and of course we can also go ahead and pass in the title, okay, and then this can be delete title, something like that, the way it was last time there, delete title, okay, but on a click I would want to console.log the ID and the endpoint, okay, and we can right away make this one a use client, just like that. So let me just go ahead and bring this delete btn. So you can just go here and to the action, and instead let's put here passing this delete. This one has to be a component delete btn, just like that. So you can pass in, if you hover on it, you see that you can pass in three things: the ID, endpoint, and the title. Okay, ID, okay, title, and then finally the endpoint. Okay, so you pass in three things. The ID, so where would we get the ID? Would we get it from the raw? Let me see, raw.id. I'm not sure. And then the title here, we can pass in the title, which is actually just this title. Okay, that one is cool. Then the endpoint would generate I think the endpoint should also come from the action column. Yeah, we need to specify the endpoint from there, because really we cannot determine the endpoint using the raw or something. Okay, so let the endpoint also come through here, the endpoint, and then let's this endpoint pass it here, and endpoint. Okay, so there are two things that are coming here in the title and the endpoint. Now for the starters, let's go to the categories. So under the catalog we have categories, and then under the columns let's go to this action here, where we are calling the action. We have the title. Let's pass in the endpoint. Of course, the endpoint would be something like something that goes on the lines of we start from the API, so it would be categories. Okay, categories, and then we pass. It's supposed to be something like if you are passing in the delete, we could just like say pass in something like categories then ID. So here I would pass in something like I would make this to be okay. I would make this to be okay. Let's just first make it just like this. Go back, put this, and then let's put this here like this, and then let's just say here we say categories, and then here we say dollar raw, dot id. Okay, yeah, this would be the, I think, the endpoint. Okay, cool. Let's just like play by that. So let me just go back to this, see what is happening. Just let's go to F12, and I'm just going to go ahead and click onto these three dots, and let me just go ahead and click. I don't know what is happening. It's doing a lot of refreshing. Okay, let me just go ahead and do this. Delete. Okay. If you click onto the delete category, something is it happening? Okay, so the ID is 0, then is the category 0. How about the second one? Yeah, okay, so why is it already calling in before clicking this? But here is 1. Let me just move down, scroll down, something like this. The problem I'm having is that is it clicking this before I click it? But it seems like the ID and this is being picked. Okay, so on the action, on these actions, we're having this delete, of course, basic and this, and we are passing in this, and then we go to this delete button. So first of all, we would want something like an alert. We don't want to directly start like when we click on delete and then it deletes directly. So we're just going to modify also this to the delete button. So if you scroll down here, go back to the helper function, you'll see where we have the delete button. Okay, so I'm just going to still do this same thing. Okay, so you can see here there is this sweet alert. Okay, so you can just quickly go to sweet alert 2, sweet alert 2, I think. We can just go to quickly to this package. You can, it's not a really popular one, but I think it can work. And if you have like a better one for alerts, like for the one which has that open thing for no or yes, which can give us that ability of saying if clicked no, or if this one is done, and then like it sort of like controls. But if you just go to sweet alert, let me just see home page. Let's first go to this. Let's see if this is going to really help us. This is their website. I think they have a website. Let's first say sweet alert 2, and then I think it is here. I don't know, is it the React? Is this the React version? Okay, so there is this. Let's first go back a bit. And there is what they're saying here is a React example. I don't know. We shall see how to use something like this. Here is official React integration. So there is even this whole thing here with as a React integration. We might just not move with this, but if you just go back to this the sweet alert example, if you go to these examples, you see they have these ones which are just like this. If you move down, you keep trying them, this is why you have things like this asking you if you want to do it, yes or no, just like that. So I just gotten, I think there is this one, I think this is the one I have, something like this. So it is actually the one in this example here. So first of all, we have to install the sweet alert. This one of React, I've not tried it. Okay, this one of React, I've not tried it. You can also try it and see if it works. Just going to install this one. So the installation here is simply npm install sweet alert 2. So let's go ahead and install the sweet alert. Open a new thing here. Okay, npm install sweet alert 2. While it is installing, let's try to implement this. We see how it is going to work. Okay, so just going to modify a few things here. Let me just go to this button and try to modify it just like that. Now just pasted this here. Now the first thing here, we have to pass in also the title. Let me just get to the title, grab the title. Okay, and you can see here the first thing is we want to get the loading, if the deleting is done or not. Then we have to get the base URL, because we are going to be making our endpoint going to API users blah blah. So we need the base URL and of course the router. Okay, so we call this, we have this function called handle delete that is going to run when, so if the loading is true, we show this, the loading button with a spinner. Now I will just modify this in a second, don't worry. Okay, just go ahead and do that. We'll modify these buttons, but basically if it is not loading, we are showing this button which is having handle delete. Okay, that is having handle delete. Okay, we can pass in of course the title here. Okay, this is passing the title there, and if you wanted even here, you could just say deleting, deleting please wait. That one is okay when it is loading. So what is happening when someone clicks on this button? Okay, when someone clicks on this button, we can actually just see what happens. So we actually call this swallowfire. Swallowfire is actually sweet alert. So it calls this sweet alert to fire or to open, and then it has this, are you sure you won't be able to revert this? Then it has the icon and blah blah. Then then it means if someone clicks is confirmed. Okay, if the result of the click, because this one gives you ability to click on either yes or no. So if the result is confirmed, that means you clicked actually on yes, then it will do this, or no, it will simply set the loading to false. There is nothing that is going to really happen. Okay, so that is the one thing that we want to do. So this, we could just console. We'll first wait for this, of course, to happen. Okay, this is the actual logic of deleting. We just simply, actually this time just going to say API and we pass in the endpoint. We are not going to get this just ID, and I think if we just pass in the endpoint, we don't need the ID. So I'm just going to do something like this. It will be API and then endpoint. Remember, the endpoint already has the ID, so I don't think we actually need the ID that we passed in here. That ID might be redundant. We don't need it, because if we pass in the ID, then we might just need to create the endpoint from this side, but we have already passed the endpoint, so you just might need just only the endpoint, which actually already have the ID, so that we have base URL API and then endpoint, then the method is delete and blah blah. So the only thing I just want to really see is that I'm just going to say here console.log. Okay, yes have been clicked. Okay, and then for that is if, I'm just going to put inside this if statement, if confirmed. Okay, so these other ones I'm just going to comment them out, and then here I'm just going to say console.log no has been clicked. Okay, so here we just like only confirming if this result, what was result, meaning what was clicked, because we are given two choices. Let's see if this breaks our code in any way. I'm just going to go here, and you can see we have this now delete category in red. If you click it, you have this whole are you sure thing popping up. If you click cancel, you can see no has been clicked. Let's go ahead and click this time yes, yes delete, and you can see yes has been clicked. Okay, so this is cool. You can see we have this alert now working. We have this swallowfire working properly here. Okay, now we just want to send the delete request. Okay, if you look at the delete request, how it works, we want to send the endpoint. You could just go ahead and print out like this endpoint. Okay, we are saying base URL API, and now if we put API, if you remember API endpoint is having category stroke ID. Okay, that means this, we are sending it to something like this. So the API is something like localhost localhost, okay, 3000. So this is the home page, stroke API, stroke categories, stroke maybe 1 2 3. So that means that, yeah, we are sending it to this at the API categories. This is categories is on the endpoint. So this is the endpoint part, and then this is the base URL part. Okay, so this is the base URL, and then we have this other endpoint just like this. Okay, yeah, so this is the endpoint. So if you wanted this API, you could include it onto the endpoint, whatever you need. If you add it and the endpoint comes this one, it's okay. If not, you can just only add it just like this, the only dynamic part. Okay, so then you will send the method delete. Okay, and then we can just go ahead and the only thing on the delete, we are interested onto this ID. Okay, we're interested onto this ID here we pass in. So if we go to categories API, so you could just go to the API and the categories, and you see we have this already, this ID here. Okay, we already have for the gate, so I can just go ahead and write for delete in a similar way. So I'm just going to go here and duplicate this. So the first thing is that this one becomes delete. So this endpoint is called delete. It also takes in the request and the params, because these params help us to get the ID. Now you could actually just like remove this part of the request because it's unused. Okay, so the first thing we just need to get is, you could just go ahead and try to actually get if this item of this ID is there. So you could just first find if actually this category exists. But of course, the fact that it is there on the UI, it will be really existing. But you could just go ahead and check this. Let me just first remove this include thing. You could just first go and check if this exists, this category really exists. I don't know if that extra spot is necessary, but it is always I think it is a good checking, a good checkpoint. You could first check if the item exists, but the fact that you are seeing it onto the UI, but you never know, just put existing is existing, or you say here existing category, existing category. You could first check if this category exists, and if existing category, or if it returns something, if existing category, if it has something, then you can just go ahead and do the delete. Now we can just now really make const deleted category would be equal to await db dot category dot delete. Okay, category dot delete, and this one also takes in only the where, so just where ID, just like that. So you could first find if it is existing, and then if it's existing, then go ahead and delete it. Okay, and then after that we can just return this okay, we can just go ahead and in fact we could just like check for the not existing. Okay, instead of checking for the existing, this, let's put this one outside. So inside here I'm just going to check if not existing. If there is not existing, then we can do something, otherwise we do this, and you can just go ahead and return the deleted category. So if not existing, we just want to return 404. So you could just return something like so data as null, okay, and then also you could just say message category not found, category not found, if you wanted to capture this onto the other one. And you can just also go ahead and pass in the status, okay, and the status you just say set maybe this on 404, like this is not found, something like this, if this doesn't exist. Otherwise we just go ahead and we delete await db.category.delete where id is this, and then we can return this the deleted item. If error, then here you can say fail to delete the category. So something like this should be able to work, okay. Okay, so you could just go ahead and try like this meet updated, okay. So one thing that we actually removed is in this cross we have this action column. So this ID we can just leave it aside. We only pass the title and the delete endpoint, only these two, okay. Now let's go ahead and see. So I'm just going to refresh, okay, and then just go here on the category, and let's go ahead and comment out in the delete button. I think we have already commented this, okay. Okay, so we could just come here and toast the title here, deleted successfully. If wanted, we can customize this, okay. We could just say here dollar title, because we are passing in the title, deleted successfully, something like that. And let's just go ahead and see. I don't know what are these. It is hydration. The hydration error always, and we have the image missing the alt prop. Is it this in the table? Okay, let's just in these columns we have this image column input, yeah. So you're supposed to have at least the alt, okay. So just have the alt text. And which information do we have? We have the row. I wish we would just get the title, because we are not sure all the time we will have like row.get title or something like that, okay. But we could just like set it to something like that doesn't matter, to this accessor key, whatever. I'm just going to pass in the accessor key and we leave it at that. It doesn't matter, okay. It really doesn't. Just to avoid this, it is not good to have this this problem, Okay, sometimes just like try to check here and see if you can solve at least one of the problems. That one should now go, and this is like I think for all the images at least. Yeah, so you can see the problem is gone. Now we have this HTML contain a matching button in button. I don't know if behind the scenes the other one is a button. Okay, I'm not sure if behind the scenes the other one is a button, but we shall rectify that I think later. But right now just work on this to see if it works. So you just click on delete and say yes. Now we're not seeing the other loading spinner because I think it is inside. Okay, I believe like we could just like show something, but if you look at this, we have a response and the OK is false. Okay, if you look at this internal server error, you can just go to here and let's check here. Okay, inconsistent column data, malformed object ID, hex string must be 12, instead got 0. Okay, so the ID we are getting from this. Okay, let's first actually before that actually just a console, let's go ahead in this delete button before we actually do this. Okay, let's look at this endpoint, like the ID is being passed here. Okay, let's console.log the endpoint. I think we can just console.log it up there before we go to this or if statement. I'm just going to simply actually comment all this, and then on top here I'm just going to console.log endpoint. Okay, console.log endpoint. I just want to look at that endpoint, how it looks like. It seems like we are not getting the actual ID, I guess. If you click onto this, yes. So whatever you see here, categories stock 0. That is really weird. Which ID are we getting? Because if you just go and get API categories, I'm just going to duplicate this, and let's go again, just get API categories. Okay, if you get API categories, typically we have this ID. This is the ID we want. Okay, this is the ID we want, not the other ID that is assigned. I think this row has its own ID. Okay, so in the action here, in the endpoint actually, so in this where do we pass this? In the columns. Where is the columns? Oh, so where we pass these categories, like this place where we actually pass in the columns, it is a place where we are passing in this row.id. It turns out this row is actually not getting this. Okay, we really need the ID. Okay, so how do we get that? How do we get the actual ID? how do we get the actual ID? Because that is not the ID. This raw is just having, like, it is actually giving us a raw ID. Yeah, that is really for sure. It is giving us a raw ID, and this one we need to have the actual way of getting ourselves access to the raw ID. So where do we get that? Okay, where do we get where would we get that? Because if you look at all these manipulations, they have only access to the accessor key. Let's just look at these other ones. So it is only the head that can have access to the table. Can the table have access to, because on the table I guess you can, I don't know, if you have access to the table, can you get the something on the table? Because I'm seeing here you only have access to the row. How are we getting the how are we going to get the actual ID passed into here? If you look at how you get these, here we are just like passing in like columns, but for some reason all columns can get this table. Can you get it on also on the cell? And if we have it on the cell, how would we get the ID or something? Because if you see where we're making this first place, we made the toolbar. Let me just go and see. This other place we had data table components. We have a data table. This table, I think the table is really powerful because it can, I think, extract some things. If you check like in this toolbar, there is this table.get column. That is the key. How do we get the delete? Anyways, in the actual example, I think let's just go like in the example, let's just go back in a second. If you go to shared And you remember, I think we can just get this. Wow, it seems they updated the UI a little bit. Yep, the UI was updated. I think it looks much better. Yeah, really, it looks like really much better now. You can see right now you click on get started. Now you go to the other page. Okay. Okay, so we have it here. The only thing, just click on examples, and for us we are interested in the example of examples. Get started. Just want the examples, and the examples, there are so many. I think we just need just to go back to the components, and on the components they just go to our table component here, and you can scroll, because under this default really they are not showing what we need. Okay, just simply go to what? So there is a documentation here. Let's just go to this. Okay, so there is this payment ID. So if you just go to the code, and the code, the part I want to see is that these are the columns, and onto the columns I would want to see the actions. Okay, so they are saying here on the sale, they are saying that the payment is raw.original. I don't know if this one gets the original, because on this if you continue scrolling down, you see they have payment.id. Okay, that's very interesting. Let's do that. Okay, the raw.original. So inside here, where is this? We are going to not delete, but these columns, on the columns we have this. Okay, and of course we have access to this. So in the action column, okay, we could just have this. Now this raw.original would be what we want to pass in is this. What we want to pass in so we want it before the endpoint. Okay, because the endpoint comes in. Okay, so how would I pass it in while I'm in columns here? So that means that I'm just going to use a return. I am not sure if that one is going to work. So if I cut this, and instead I use this, and then I say return, and then I return this. Okay, and the good thing with this is that on top here I can just say const, okay, I can say const category is equal to raw dot original dot original. That's what they did. And then this here, they just say category.id, and let's look at the endpoint once more time. I just want to look at this the endpoint one more time, hoping this actually still renders this properly. Yep, so this time is, you see, we actually have the actual ID, guys. Yep, this is really nice. So if you want the actual category, you can see reading the documentation is really the way to go, guys. Okay, I was wondering really how we are going to get that, but you have this raw.original gives you the whole category, and then you can choose this category ID, and then we can pass it. This is really nice. We have the categories now stock the actual ID. That's really great. Okay, so I'm just going to do is what I'm just going to do is going back to our delete button. Okay, delete button, and now we can just take back and see this and see now if everything is going to work. Okay, I'm just going to see if everything is going to work. Okay, click on the delete, you click yes, and let's just wait and see. Category deleted successfully and gone. Okay, so the delete is now working properly. Okay, the delete is working properly, and I like that. Okay, so that one has been confirmed. The delete is working. We can delete one more stuff here, and we see we have another meat. Maybe we just do what, poultry or something. Yes, I come here and I say delete, and then I click yes. Now the spinner, the problem is that the spinner would be this side, but after a while it should just like go. Okay, I don't understand that. Let me just refresh. Okay, let me just delete another one. Food supplements, delete. Okay, did you see that? I say yes. And nothing. And just we'll see this side if we have any issues. So there is this, the change you are trying to make would violate the required category to product between the product and the category models. Okay, now actually I expected that. Okay, there is this relation category to product, and now the delete cannot happen because if you go onto these models, okay, if you go onto this in the schema, so just pull up the schema and look at it. If you go onto this, this is the category, okay. So when you are creating category, is we don't have here on this, like we have I think the one with it has this, it has products, it has trainings, and so on and so forth. So what happens is, what should happen on delete, okay, we're supposed to put somewhere on delete cascade, okay, we're supposed to put on delete cascade somewhere, like on these products. Let's see, I think we had it, I'm not sure. Okay, so like here on this category here, so like what happens when a category is deleted, okay, are we supposed to maintain all the products under that category, or should we delete all that also on the category? Now we could just like go into this the Prisma docs. We'll go to Prisma docs and try to see if we can just get a solution over there, and just come here on the docs and click on get quick start, and then here they just search for something. So we can just search for on delete. Is this on delete maybe? So here they give us this relationship model user. So where is the on delete now? I just want to see it in action, but I'm not seeing it anywhere, because on delete we have these cascade things. Okay, for instance, cascade, you see here, cascade on delete, cascade deleting a reference record will trigger the deletion of the reference record. You see even here on update cascade. So how they are doing it is that in the post where we have this, the author, so in this case, like this is, you can see this like the category. So like the model user is just like a category, because the category has products. So even the author has posts. And when we come here and we say on delete, and then you can see it has also on update, okay, on update cascade and on delete cascade. We can just like copy on to those ones, and you're supposed to come and put them in this the product, and for all of those ones it is the category. So put comma, and then we can put on delete. I think it's a comma, isn't it? Yeah, after the reference we can put on delete cascade, meaning that if we delete the category, all the products go with it. The same thing here, if we just like referencing it to the user, but we're not going to be deleting users, but we can also just like pass it here okay, on all these models that are having the relationship like with the product, and you can check this onto all of them which are relating to those ones. Okay, and sometimes it can quickly get complicated, but they just go up here and to those ones which are having those kind of relationships. Category, the problem is the category so relies on this market. Like what happens to the category if the markets are deleted, but this one, it shouldn't just affect it. Deletion of the market shouldn't delete the category. And then inside the market, what happens also on the market if you delete the category? Okay, like we don't want also to delete the markets. Okay, I don't know now what are other values for this. What if I don't want to cascade? Okay, there is this no action. What does no action mean? For now, let's just first leave those ones. Product is dependent on a category and the user. Then trainings, they also have this. So when we delete the category, do we delete the training? And I don't know, for these relationships, you cannot make it optional. Does it take optional chaining? Yeah, it actually takes the optional chaining, because some others it's not a must that the category is a must, like in this case. Okay, for instance, when what happened to the farmer profile if the user, so this is a good example of cascade, because if we delete the user with these details, then the farmer profile should also be deleted. Okay, so other places I think we can just pass in that the category is not a must, but for the product a category is a must, so that's why it has a date like that. Okay, just first leave it just like this and we try to push these changes. So I'm just going to restart and see what happens if this is going to accept. Just going to say npx prisma db push. Let's just try to see if we push these changes. At least today we have gotten a serious amount of troubles I guess you are learning from these the errors we are getting and the way we are trying to troubleshoot them. Okay, I guess you are learning a lot from the errors. So I hustle with the errors until they work. I guess this one helps you to know that the errors happen all the time, and you have to read documentation, you have to troubleshoot, you have to ask around. And this is the actual things that you will not find in other tutorials, because the projects are always not that very big to have those problems. Sometimes you find that the problem is not that really big. The schemas, they have like one schema or two, so it is always easy to handle. But in actual sense, when you have a huge amount of schemas like these ones, problems like these ones, definitely they have to happen, and you have to know how to handle them. Okay, uh, let's get back to our application here, and we see if we have this. It is compiling the dashboard. Okay, they just wait and see. Okay, so let me just take this opportunity to also thank all those ones who have subscribed. Please, thank you so much. If you have not subscribed up to this point, please, really, I ask that you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you don't have to miss out any of my videos. Okay, and also there is a WhatsApp group, and this WhatsApp group helps me to ask you the things you want. So if you want to contribute, see which tutorials do you want. You have an error and you want to explicitly ask about the error, please join the WhatsApp group, and then we can actually discuss the issues at large. Okay, there is someone who's asking me for the Discord became too cloudy for me, and it was very hard to manage, like all the time going to the Discord, and all that. I could even forget. But WhatsApp is so much near, and I like jumping into WhatsApp and talk to you guys. So just click and join WhatsApp, and then from there we are actually going to see. If you have a problem, simply take a screenshot, use WhatsApp web, send the image in the group, and then we can just discuss your problem, and probably maybe jump into a Google Meet, and then I can look at your problem in details. Okay, then another thing is that we're having the course. The course is on the in the making. It has delayed because I'm just actually writing the documentation. We are using putting TypeScript. Everything is going to be in TypeScript. So that one is really making me to take my time and give you something that is really the best. Okay, so just join the waiting list, and anytime I will send you the notification when it is out. Okay, yeah, so that is the updates on the course. And as far as WhatsApp, join. Okay, there are so many other links that you will find in these videos. If you click on any of these videos, you will find the we have the link. You have the link, of course, to these, but one, you have the documentation. You can go to the documentation, and then you have, of course, the waiting list for the course. You can suggest your project idea. If you have any project idea, you can go ahead and suggest this project idea. Of course, you can also grab the source code of this, whatever we are doing this e-commerce. You can grab the source code, and then you can, as we said, you can join the WhatsApp group. Okay, that's really fine. We are still I don't know why it is taking years like to render that. Okay, it is really taking more time than expected, but I'm just praying hard that next year 2024 I get a good machine, a powerful machine that will not have these issues. Yeah, I'm just like always asking God to help me manage next year. I need to get a powerful machine. Wow, I can just get something that is really, this is onto I think the machine. It has nothing to do with this, but it must be the machine. But I just give it a few more seconds and then we can see if this works. Okay, meanwhile while this one is working, we have also we have to think about the edit. Okay, this edit will also be a really tricky one, but I think we can just first work on this delete, and if it works very well then we can just now jump into edit. We still have a lot to figure out on the delete. Okay, I'm just going to I think pause this and come back when actually this has rendered. Okay, so the category page now is here. I'm not sure if right now we are good. We can just like try to do the delete once more time, and now why it is doing why it was refusing, if you remember very well on this localhost 3000, is that we actually have these categories that are having the actual products. Like the first one we deleted, it did not have the products. That's why it was like it successfully deleted it very well. But if you check on others, like you see this one, meet updated, did not have this products empty. You can just like go here, check them here. You can see like these food supplements has all these products. Actually, let me just look for the one that has a few products, like this animal feeds. I think animal feeds, even milk. They just look for this one which has like few products, like milk. Milk has only one product. Okay, so they just go to milk, delete, and you say delete, and if it refuses category deleted successfully, that one is good. So that means if we go this side, we refresh, so the milk should be now taken off. Okay, the milk should now be taken off. Okay, so you have now meat, but milk is gone. If you just go to this here, you see that milk is gone. They just look for another one. We can remove all these ones which has no product, like regimes. So just go here and look for the regimes. Let's delete regimes, just like that. And now the regimes should be now deleted. I don't know how we are just going to show this. It is the button waiting. Okay, so are we having now another problem? We have this now category training. Because I think we linked this category to the training. Category training between, so okay, so category training. What happens if you delete a category that actually is in the training? Do you delete the trainings? So that's why I put this question mark. I thought it would really work. Okay, yeah, I think if you go ahead and delete this, because all these trainings, they belong certain category, they are related to this category. But if you delete the category that was there, do we really need to delete this? Even when T is having this optional chaining, I think it doesn't actually hit it. Okay, how would we would we put also to delete the training? Okay, because if you go to these others, just go to, like, I don't know, the ones that are linked to the training, but the ones that are not linked, let's check another one. We have ground tubers. Let me try the ground tubers. I don't know if it is also linked. Could just see and wait and see. Okay, so you can see ground tubers has been deleted. So now the ones that are linked to the other ones, we can actually leave to delete them because they are linked to, you have to first go and remove it from, I think that should be it. I don't know how we can capture this error. Okay, but it is a good one, because what happens if you actually delete the category? Because for every training, want it to, if you go to this this limit training, you will see that they have some categories. You get, I think we should also look for a way of passing here the category, but these ones are linked to different categories. Okay, they're linked to different categories. So if you come here, you have to first come and edit this, and then you change to another one. Yeah, that should be the best one. So someone shouldn't just come and delete a category when actually it belongs to somewhere. Okay, but for the product it is okay, but for the trainings, you can't delete the category and then you delete all the trainings in that. It would be really bad. So what should be done is that someone should first come, you edit off this category. After you edit the market, then you can go ahead, or you delete this training yourself, and then you could do this instead of doing here the cascade, because if you put here the cascade, it will go ahead and delete the training, and that is sometimes not the case. You would want to delete the category and then it goes with the trainings. So for that, we just leave it like that. Okay, so basically the categories, the delete is now happening. The good thing is that we can simply transform this API route. Okay, we can simply transform this API route we just created here, this one for the delete. Just copy this and you can go ahead and start from up here. The banners, first create that. So for the banners, I'm just going to simply actually duplicate this, copy, and then come and paste it in the banners, this dynamic ID, and then route. You can get a specific banner here. So I'm just going to put here banner. Okay, there is no any include here, and then return this banner. This one will get a specific banner. and then fail to fetch a banner. Okay, and then we go down to the delete existing banner, await db dot banner dot find unique where id if existing banner. Then we just do that, we just do this, and then down here we can delete this banner. Okay, await db dot banner, and then you can just say return the deleted banner. So you can do this for all the models. Okay, so I want you guys to go ahead and do this, okay, to all other models. You're just doing it for the banner, and let's confirm if this is working. So the first thing is to create the dynamic route in the API. Make sure you have this dynamic ID route, and then inside we are putting we have these two. In this, the dynamic route, we have two things: the one of getting a specific banner or a specific item, that endpoint of a specific item, and then here the delete. We'll add one for the edit, but right now we can just handle it this way. You just get here the delete, okay, and then first check if the item you're going to delete exists. If it doesn't, we have this error, and then now we can actually do this, delete the banner. If we wanted, we could just also get here the error, because if it tries here, we could try and say if it has error, and then we can also return an error. But for now, we can just work with this. So first, make the work on this, the delete endpoint. After getting the delete endpoint, go back to this dashboard, catalog, and like for instance banners. In the columns, we're going to change only one thing. Okay, in the columns, just get these columns, and the only thing just you want to do is adding this. Okay, you want to add this. You can just say copy this one more time, this row of actions. Okay, I can just copy this action, go to the banners columns, and we are modifying this. Okay, the title here is banner, and even here is banner. Okay, and then here is going to be banners, and then here banners, it is banner dot id, this banner here. So we are passing in the title and this. So this is what you do to the column, and this is the only place you change, because this banner is going to propagate to the action column. Action column takes in this title and the endpoint, and then after that is just going to go ahead and propagate this data to the delete button, and then the delete button is going to go ahead and propagate the endpoint of the title, and then the rest it is going to handle them. So just go and check if this works. So go to store banners. Okay, and let's just go and delete any one of them. Just go ahead and delete banner, yes, and just wait and see. So you can see banner deleted successfully. So for these other ones, they will not have problems, and after deleting the banner, you will see that now we have 1, 2, 3, like these ones. They're the ones that we are going to see onto this here. And now if you just like do this, you reset 1, 2, 3, 4. They change it now to 4. They were 5. Okay, so the more you delete them this side, if you delete them, then they go away from this UI here. Okay, just go back to this. Okay, so the banners are working, so you can do this to others. I want you guys to try and add that to the coupons. Do the same thing to the coupons, do the same thing to the products, do the same thing to the markets, farmers, and all these other guys. Okay, I will just go ahead and do that offline, but I've told you what you should do. Okay, I just want you also to try on your own so that you actually learn to do something on your own as an exercise. Okay, just try to rewatch what I've done. The first step is you have to update the columns. Okay, and you update this endpoint and get this. And then another important thing is to make sure that in the API you create this dynamic route of ID, and then inside it you have this route here of the delete, and the first one you're doing is checking if it exists. If it doesn't, we can just return 404, and then afterwards we can just go ahead and delete this banner and return the deleted banner like that. Okay, so you try to go ahead and implement into other, so that we see if you get problems, we'll come actually discuss about those problems. Okay, so I'm just going to end the video from here. It has been nice to get from you guys, and if you are just finding the series like it is tiring, just keep on working. That's how big projects are. You do not finish the big project in 2 days, 1 week. The actual thing is that big projects take time. It can take even a month, it can take even 2 months, or even 3 months. Okay, I'm trying my level best. We are only having right now, I think this one is the 21st episode, so those episodes are really few. If you go and check, there are some series I know which have 50 episodes, 100 episodes, really, when they are doing big projects. So you shouldn't get that, because something we are implementing is something that is powerful and something big. Okay, if you are watching up to this point, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.